Okay, what we're going to talk about today is the law of sines. So far this year, pretty much what we've dealt with is we've dealt with right triangles. So a right triangle, like this, where we have the hypotenuse, and then we have our legs. And so let's say we're using it from this perspective. This is our angle. We had our opposite, and we had our adjacent. Well, what I'm going to tell you is we're going to be dealing with triangles that aren't right triangles. So we need to still be able to figure out angle measures and side measures and things like that. So what we have is we have what's called the law of sines. So the law of sines is going to work when we're given an angle, a side, and an angle, or two angles and a side. So I'll explain what that is in a minute. We're not going to worry so much about that for right now. This is the law of sines, that the ratio of a side to the sine of an angle is the same around the entire triangle. So the way this is going to work is the following. We're going to have a triangle ABC. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to draw myself a triangle ABC. So we do. And the way I'm going to do it is this is A, this is angle B, and this is angle C. So I got my triangle ABC. And the way it works out is I'm going to fill in the blanks. So angle C measures 102 degrees. Angle B measures 28 degrees. So if I want to figure out the measure of angle A, back to geometry, you know that the measure of angle A is going to be 180 degrees minus the sum of the two we have. So 28 degrees plus 102 degrees. So when I do that, I'm going to find out that the measure of angle A is 50 degrees. That tells me that this guy here is 50 degrees. So now I got my triangle, I got my three measures. And now here comes the deal. This is the new piece we're going to learn. So side B is 27. The way we locate sides of a triangle is the lowercase b is across from the big B. So this angle right here is 28. The side across is going to be of length 27. Since this is angle C, this right here is going to be side C. Since this is angle A, if we go across from it, this is going to be side A. So now, to figure out the measure of side C, what I'm going to tell you is the way we do this is we're going to use this ratio. And this ratio basically tells me the following. C over sine C. And the reason I'm picking that one is because I need to find sine C. So I'm going to definitely use C over sine C. Equals. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at my triangle and I'm going to see what am I given. Based on what I'm given is what I can do with the problem. In this case, if I look at A, I'm not given the measure of angle. I'm not given the measure of side A, though I do have the measure of angle A. That's not going to help me. But if I look at B, I'm given the measure of side B, I'm given the measure of angle B. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this part of the law of sines, that C over sine C equals B over sine B. And then I'm going to fill in the blanks. I don't know what C is, but I know that angle C is 102 degrees. I know that B is 27, and I know that the measure of angle B is 28. So now what I have is I have something set up for cross multiplication. So when I mean cross multiply, I go this way. So that's going to be C times sine 28 equals 27 times sine 102. And now the way I solve this to get the C by itself is I'm going to divide both sides by sine of 28 degrees, sine of 28 degrees. And what I now have is I have this trigonometric thing. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my calculator and I'm going to just type it in. So the first thing I want to do is I want to make sure that I'm in the right mode. So I go to mode, I go down here, I make sure that I'm not in radian, and make sure that I'm in degrees. So I'm good there. So now what I'm going to do is literally type this in. So I'm going to do 27 times sine 102, close parentheses, so that's the top, divided by that fraction bar, sine 28. I hit enter, and it's 56.255. So again, I'm going to round that thing to the 3 decimal places. That tells me the length of side C is 56.255. So now I know that this guy right here is 56.255. And now it's going to ask me to find the measure of side A. Well, again, the way you set it up is, since I'm asking you for side A, I'm going to do A over sine A. I'm going to do this first part. And I'm going to set it equal to what I do know. And I do know that B, and I know sine B. But I could have done C if I wanted to. I'm just going to do B because I've already done it once. So this is going to be A over the sine of the measure of angle A, which is 50, equals 27 over sine 28, cross multiplication. So that's going to give me A times sine of 28 degrees equals 27 times sine of 50 degrees. Divide both sides by sine of 28 degrees. Sine of 28 degrees. Go to my calculator, type that whole thing in, and I'm going to find out that A equals 44.056. So I know that this side is equal to 44.056. So the way that I do this is, and again, if you want to think about it, is first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draw my triangle. The next thing I'm going to do is label what I'm given. And I'm going to tell you that typically it's going to be, for law of sines, it's going to be given the two angles and the one side, I'm going to label them. I am going to solve for the missing angle. Solve for the missing angle. And I do that with 180 minus whatever those two angles are. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the law of sines to figure out the missing sides. And that's what we did today. It doesn't change depending, because in this case, if this is the same process, this first one, what was happening is I was given angle B and angle C, and I was given a side that's not included. The only difference with these down here, honestly, is this. Here's my triangle. A, B, C. I know that A is 37 degrees. I know that B is 48 degrees. But in this case, I'm given side C. Side C is across, that's 18. Maybe a little bit more 18. And what I notice is I'm given two angles, but I'm given the side in between. So, but the process is still the same. I'm going to go through and I'm going to figure out the measure of that missing angle. I'm going to do 180 minus 48 plus 37. And that's going to tell me that angle C is actually 95 degrees. So this is 95 degrees. For side B, I'm still going to say, well, I need to know side B. So I'm going to do B over sine B equals, well, in this case, I'm given C, and I just figured out angle C. So I'm going to say C over sine C. So B over sine 48 equals 27, is it 27? No, 18, sorry, wrong problem. Look at the one above. 18 over sine 95. I do my cross multiplication. I'm going to find out that that B is going to equal 18 times sine 48 degrees divided by sine of 95 degrees. If I go through that whole process again, and when I go to simplify this, B is going to equal 13.428. So it's going to tell me that this side down here is going to be 13.428. And to find side A, I do A over sine A equals C over sine C. A over sine of 37 equals 18 over sine 95. What I'm going to find out is that A equals 18 times sine 37 over sine 95. When I do that cross multiplication, I'm going to find out here that A is going to equal 10.874. So it's going to tell me that this side is 10.874. So this is what law of sines is. This is what we worked on today. We did a practice. There's a practice in the folder. If you weren't here, I'd ask you to give it a shot. Otherwise, just be prepared. We're going to come back around to this again in the next class, and we're going to learn the law of cosines next. So hopefully that helps.